Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So they're back with a Lucian commentary guide, and I know I've done a lot of Lucian commentary guides, but we haven't done one in a while, and I wanted to do one on patch 3.0a to show you guys that he is still just that good. In my opinion, the three best ADCs at the moment are Lucian, Kai'Sa, and Draven if you know how to play him. Draven not because of the buff, but personally I always think Draven is one of the best ADCs if you can play him. Because if you can, really no other ADC can even try to compete with you at the early game. Not even someone like a Caitlyn. Alright, so something I just want to point out right at the very start, unrelated to Lucian, but Riot did release a article just now, or not just now, but by this point a couple of days ago, on fixing matchmaking. So a lot of high elo people especially have complained about matchmaking, and personally I do face some of the problems that they do in Diamond, because in Diamond every win gets me 10 VP, and every loss causes me to minus 15. Now I kind of thought that that was the way the system was intended, to make it harder to climb in Diamond, but turns out that it's not. So now Riot claims that if you get minus 10, you should get plus 10 as well. So you should get plus and minus an equal amount, which to me I think that's good in terms of myself climbing. But in terms of something like making it harder in Diamond, then if you get a plus 10 and minus 10, why not just change it to like 10 marks to go from Diamond 4 to Diamond 3? Because it's pretty much the same as marks now, since you gain and lose an equal amount, if you guys know what I'm trying to say. But among that, we have other things like you know, in pre-made parties having stricter boundaries, so that there'll be better quality matches, which will raise queue times if you duo or trio or 5-man. And we also have other changes to matchmaking, like they want to increase the pool of Diamond and Master players, which will overall cause you to have larger gains when you're at like low Diamond or maybe even high Emerald, because they do want to increase the people in Diamond. So maybe you might get like 2 marks if you're in Emerald 1 or something. I have no idea, because I'm already in Diamond, so I don't really know. But I'll have to find out, and if you guys, if we find out about it, I'll let you guys know. Anyways, here let's get into the actual gameplay. We spent like 2 minutes talking about it already. Now here you see me and Lux actually traded kills. She actually flash queued me, and overall killing an ADC for a support is worth it for them, but for me at the very least I managed to trade the kill onto the Lux, so it's not the worst case scenario for me. I essentially traded 1 for 1 in a 3v2, which is also a very good outcome for my side. So overall it's pretty much relatively equal on both sides. Like they traded a support for ADC, whereas my side won a 2v3 1 for 1 kinda, so basically it kinda balances out. But basically the main strength of Lucian is of course 2 things: his insane burst damage and his mobility. So as you guys can see, we can dash in, burst people with our full combo, and then get back out. Not necessarily with a dash in the early game, but in the late game we can get back out with a dash because of how much CDR we have, and after we put points into E to reduce its cooldown. So anyways, here playing against a Jinx and a Lux, it's actually a relatively simple lane. Here you guys can see Lux use her Q and her her Q and her E already, so that's why we can go in. So basically, Jinx in this lane isn't too important. She just provides a little bit of damage, but Lux is the real one we gotta take note of, because Lux root can be fatal, and the Lux W can be a big factor as well. Now in most games Lux E will matter quite a bit as well, but in this particular game this Lux decides to go for a full Lux support build, so Lux E doesn't really play a huge factor in this match in particular. So here I try to finish off the Jinx, but Lux body blocks her, and actually I end up killing the Lux instead of the Jinx. Now overall I guess I would say that Lux did a pretty good job there, because it's better Lux dying than Jinx dying, especially since Lux isn't even going AP, she's going full support. And on a side note, this game sort of demonstrates why I think at this point, after the huge nerf to the Lux W shielding amount, I think Lux building support build is no longer worth it. And I think if you play Lux support, I think she's actually better played as a carry support building damage than building actual support at this point in time. So you will see later that this Lux builds like Harmonic Echo and Ardent Sensor, and you will see that her E does absolutely no damage. Her ult does do a little bit of damage, but it barely does enough to hurt you, and in some cases, it does so little damage that it may not even be worth dodging to put yourself out of position. It is what I'm trying to say. So, basically, Lux support doesn't give any form of pressure, whereas I will be way more scared of a Lux damage who can actually root me and possibly just one-shot me after hitting her Q. So I do actually believe that Lux is better played with damage build in the support role. But regardless, we have Shyvana here coming in for a gang. Nothing too much comes of it, and she's just going back to farm her jungle. In the meantime, we're just gonna stay in the lane. Now, Lucian and Nami is a very aggressive lane, whereas Jinx wants to pretty much is normally on the back foot. She isn't very aggressive unless you're against someone very low range, like a Vayne or a Kai'Sa, for example. Now, Lucian is low range, but he has an amazing all-in, as you guys can see here. We all-in for the double kill, so you cannot exactly just keep on rocketing a Lucian with no consequence, because doing that would put you in Lucian's all-in range. So here I'm stealing their fruit, and we see Zed coming down. Now, really good bubble by Nami, so if Zed walked further up, he would have got hit by the bubble, but he backs off. Shyvana, for some reason, decides to ult in on the Zed and puts herself in a 1v1 for like a second, which causes her to die to the Zed. Now, of course, I do chase and get the trade kill onto the Zed, but that really wasn't worth it for the Shyvana. We had an easy 1v3 where Zed couldn't really do anything, because if he tried to burst any one of us, Nami could have exhausted him and we would have all lived. But Shyvana got a little bit of the itchy fingers, so she just ults straight into the Zed and finds herself in a 1v1. So Zed full combos her before me and Nami can even reach there, and therefore she just straight up dies. So not the best decision making by the Shyvana, but on our end, we're 5-1 at this point in time, getting a kill onto the Zed as well as a kill onto the enemy bot lane, trading onto the Lux, etc. And I'm in really good shape. As you can see, I have a lot more gold than anyone else on the entire game. I have like 1k gold advantage over like Zed and Darius as well as Graves, who are the three champions who are close behind me. So here, nice catch by the Jinx. Here at this point in time, I have my Solar Recharge Blade. I do a ton of burst damage, and this is what I'm referring to. Here I even tried to ult the Jinx. And if I had a better angle, I think I might have actually gotten the kill. Or if I had flash, I definitely would have gotten the kill. But Jinx escaped with her life. In the meantime, Shyvana finds herself in a 1v1 versus the Grave. So we're going to come over to back her up. I contribute an E and a Light Slinger auto, and that allows the kill to be picked up. Here I'm walking straight to through the tower, but Nami can't do so because we don't have a wave. So I'm hard pushing the wave so that Nami can actually come through the tower. But in my opinion, she should have just gone over the other side toward the dragon pit. But it's all good. So instead, we're just going to pick up the tower. So at this point in time, we're at where Lucian wants to be, 6-1, really good score. Generally, when Lucian is ahead, the enemy team is going to have a very tough time playing unless Lucian gets out of position. If Lucian just pretty much stays safe and doesn't get caught, really difficult for the enemy to do anything. The only consolation here is that Lucian has very short range, so he normally has to get into a decent amount of danger to actually output his damage. So that is the slight issue with Lucian. But honestly, when you are fed enough, you have so much damage, and you build the Bloodthirster as well. You have so much lifesteal that generally you will survive anyway. So you probably will see that later on in the match. Here we have our two core items, the Solar Recharge Blade and the Infinity Edge. So I'm at 75% crit at this point, doing a lot of damage. Now there you see I got hit by the Lux E, and it barely damaged my health. It did do a bit of damage, of course, but it barely did any damage. I'm not really too scared of the Lux aside from her root. But in terms of her damage, I'm not too scared. Now here we have my entire team hovering around the dragon. All 5 members hovering around the dragon. It is of course Infernal, which is of course the dragon that everybody likes the most. And of course we have a Shyvana, so we do want to go for dragons. Now here Darius flash hooks me, I can dash straight back out, Galio ults in, and I pretty much just ult and hit whoever I can. Zed tries to dive the backline and kill me, but he gets exhausted by Nami, so it's all good for me. In the meantime, my team wins the rest of the fight, and instead of just blindly chasing for kills, the last kill being Zed, who is a very slippery character, I'm just going to push in the bot lane wave. The next bot lane wave is actually coming out, but the next, the entire enemy team is about to revive, so we can't really push any further, but we can of course shove the minion wave under the tower so they at least lose some minions. So in the meantime, my team has actually rotated over to the Rift Herald and acquired the Rift Herald because the entire enemy team was dead and Zed was low. So obviously they cannot contest the Rift Herald, so it's a free Rift Herald for my team. And at this point in time, I completed my 2 core items as well as my steel-plated Zanyas. So obviously I went for the plated steel caps this game because the entire enemy team is AD except for Lux who's AP. But as we covered, Lux doesn't actually do any damage. And we get the stasis because there is a Zed in the game. So if Zed outs me, I can stasis here. Lux makes the mistake of essentially rooting herself by casting her ultimate. Now I can do way more damage than she can with her ult. So in the same duration that she ults, I can instantly burst her and she is dead. So if she ults anywhere near me, it basically means instant death for the Lux. So here, as you guys can see, I predicted the Darius proto belting in, and I actually dashed away before he can hook me in. I fell for that trick one time at the Dragon Pit. I'm not gonna fall for it again. So I know that the Darius wants to grab me, of course, which isn't really a surprise, of course, because I am the Fed ADC of the enemy team. But I do have to be very, very careful with how I play the game. Now, of course, the very good thing about playing Lucian versus this comp is that Graves has really short range, Darius is melee, Zed is melee as well. So really, the only 2 people who outrange me are Lux, who does no damage, and Jinx, who is very far behind because of how much we destroyed her in the early game. So really, I'm in a very, very good spot in this particular game. I even go ahead to disrupt the Lux back to just annoy the enemy team. Now here, the whole team is grouped up from mid for like a minute or so, but there really is nothing happening mid. So instead, I'm going to rotate over to bot, picking up the skull crab along the way, of course, and then I'm going to just pick up the bot wave, because this is just farm getting wasted. No one is picking up the farm. Here you guys can see I pick up a whole wave inclusive of a cannon, and that is of course going to help me toward my next couple of items. So here, despite only having 2 items, I already do so much damage, mainly because 2 reasons. Firstly, I'm of course very, very ahead compared to everybody else. I'm at 10k gold, and the enemy team's closest is Graves at 8.5k gold. So I have a 1.5k gold lead over the most fed member on the enemy team. And also, Lucian has a 2-item power spike, which makes him really, really strong. And really, the main reason I think Lucian is so strong in the current meta is really because of how much damage he does, especially if you're fed. Now, even if you aren't fed, even if you are behind, it comes to a point where Lucian can still carry. Now, this isn't really like League PC where Lucian falls off in the late game. As a matter of fact, Lucian actually scales pretty well in the late game in Wild Rift, because when you pick up your like Bloodthirster, when you pick up your Seralda's Grudge, your damage really starts ramping up all over again, and he does also have high early game damage. So really, he is really strong at majority of pretty much all stages of the game actually. So here, Dragon is about to spawn. I have enough gold for my Bloodthirster. I have just picked up the red buff. So here, I'm backing. I have my 3 core items, 100% crit at this point, so long as I cast a spell. As well as having the red buff, so I'm at a really, really strong spot. Now, unfortunately, my team starts fighting without me, but I guess I wrecked the enemy team so hard that my team is pretty much just winning the fight without me. Here, Zed tries to go in on the Galio, but he just used his shadow, so he has no escape. I kill him. And I try to go for the Darius as well, but I get KS sort of by the Galio, and here I get KS by the Olaf. So pretty much getting KS by my whole team, but it doesn't really matter at this point to me. In fact, I don't really mind it because aside from myself, I want to of course get my teammates fed as well, because whenever you are fed and you get your teammates fed, in case you die or you make a mistake, your team still has, you know, the goal to of course do something about it. Now here, Jinx doesn't really realize how fed I am, and I can simply just dive her under tower and pretty much remain at full health. So this is really the power of Lucian. Now there, I could have actually gone straight in on her before I even focused the tower, but I wanted to give her a false sense of security where I didn't actually just go straight onto her and she thinks that she's safe. Now of course, that didn't really help me too much in any strategic kind of way. It was sort of just for fun. At this point, we're so fed that we can pretty much do what we want. Our team also has the 3 dragons, so this pretty much means Shyvana is going to be in really good shape as well. Here is Graves, the most fed member on enemy team, and you can't really feel it because I can't instantly burst the Graves unlike other champions. So there I actually have to full combo the Graves and then add on another E-auto and auto again for him to actually die. So the Graves really pretty fed, and he has gone for like the Black Cleaver Death's Dance kind of build, so it's a really tanky kind of build, not really the full damage carry kind of build. Now because he is dead, this allows us to pick up a free Baron, and I'm running out of mana, so I'm going to pick up the fruit to restore a little bit of my mana so that I can continue casting my spells. Here, Darius manages to catch the Nami. Nami hits the exhaust on the Darius, and the rest of us finish off the Darius, allowing Nami to escape with a sliver of health. Now, I have short range. I want to attack the tower, so I gotta take note of whatever spells can hit me. Here, I see a Lux, so I know she's gonna try a binding, so I dash out of the way as soon as I see that binding comes. As you guys can see, the Lux ultimate doesn't actually even do that much damage, so I don't really mind tanking the Lux ultimate. Of course, dodge it if you can, but in this case, I already used my dash to dodge the Lux Q, which is by far the way more threatening of the Lux spells, because if she catches me with her Q, the entire rest of her team can follow up and, you know, of course, just blow me up. So here I ping that I want the buff. Now I'm super duper fed 9, 1, and 9. So Shyvana wisely hands over the buff. Now if you play jungle, this is what you should be doing. Now Shyvana herself is 3, 2, and 9. Not necessarily in bad shape, but obviously you want to give the buff to your 9, 1, and 9 ADC, who is obviously carrying the game. So don't be selfish if you're a jungler. And when I play jungle, I give buff to my ADC or mage when they need it as well. So here I actually picked up Serelda's Grudge. So I'm actually trying to use the slow on Serelda's Grudge to kill the Graves. Graves dashes out of the way and actually hit the Jinx, and as you guys can see on the right hand side of the screen, Jinx has critical health. I nearly actually just killed her by just a couple shots of my ultimate. So Jinx is really, really squishy, and she's gone for the more lifesteal kind of build and less damage kind of build with the Bork. So she isn't going to be doing too much damage as well. Of course, we don't want to just give her resets and let her just run rampant on our team. Here we have all 3 lanes pushing in. So the enemy team will definitely lose at least 1 inhibitor tower because they can't stop all of us. Shyvana and Ghetto pushing in top, Olaf kind of hovering around, and here Lux flashes because she realizes that I can kill her with another double shot auto, so really wise by the Lux there to know she has to flash. Here I tank everything from the Lux, but it doesn't matter because it's only Lux and Jinx. They aren't the fed members of the team, so they can't really kill me. So here I full combo and kill the enemy bot lane one last time. And at this point in time, our team somehow manages to all die to the enemy team. So here, as you guys can see, the Graves actually manages to finish off the last kill, which is the Olaf, and I have no idea how that just happened. So basically, this leaves 2 members per team alive. Zed and Graves versus me and Nami. Now here they have to go back to reset, allows us to pick up the top lane inhibitor tower, so only the mid lane inhibitor is left. So now here we have a very interesting situation because the Elder Dragon is spawning. Obviously Elder Dragon can turn the tide of a game. So if we give Elder Dragon to the enemy team, which we of course will not do willingly, this will cause the enemy team to have a chance to come back. Now on the other hand, the enemy jungler Graves is alive, but our jungler Shyvana is dead for another 5 more seconds. She's gonna take at least 15 seconds to walk over here, but I decide to start the dragon anyway, but I place a ward in the enemy jungle first. Now on that ward we can spot the Graves. So what do we do here? We turn and we kill the Graves. Now this is a common mistake made by a lot of teams. They just focus the dragon and they just get it stolen by the enemy jungler. So here I use everything to kill the Graves, including my ultimate. Red buff ends up killing him. And actually I don't have red buff. I have no idea what actually killed him there. But basically I pick up the kill. And now we can get the Elder Dragon for free. So that is the mistake a lot of enemies make. Now, it's not necessarily just in this situation wherein your jungler is dead and the enemy jungler is alive, but when both junglers are alive, the smarter decision is normally just to turn and just kill the enemy jungler first so that he doesn't have a chance to steal. But most teams just don't do that, which I am pretty annoyed by. Now here honestly we could have ended the game without even picking up the Baron, but my team decides to go for the Baron. So in the meantime I pick up the inhibitor tower, enemy has a completely exposed Nexus, Shyvana picks up the Baron, I pick up the red buff, and we have Baron minions, and we have waves in all 3 lanes. So here it's a very simple case of simply just pushing on into the base to win. Enemy team sees the writing on the wall and decides to just surrender the game, which I can respect in this scenario. So shows how Lucian is super duper broken and S+ tier. So thank you guys for watching the video, and goodbye.